Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
And every single episode of What If Season 1 has now dropped, which means it's time to rank the What Ifs. We get Nerdy Nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
That is right. Welcome back to the channel. This time we're talking about Marvel's What If, the Disney Plus series that just ended yesterday over there. Season 1 was a pretty fun, wild ride. The first animated show officially set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And a departure, I think, from the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we knew into the multiverse that Marvel really wants us to understand really quickly.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to be doing this, so you better be on board. Here's a lot of it.
Loki gave, like, the lightest introduction. Some people would say that was a pretty heavy introduction, but I think they kept it pretty small in terms of the variants. We really only saw variants of Loki.
Yeah.
And obviously, there are other spoilers. Go watch Loki. It's a great show.
Yeah.
But I think to follow that with this was really smart, because in that we saw these branching timelines, and in this we see all of those timelines.
Yeah, all of the, like, vast majorities of space and time. It's great.
Before we get into the rank, I want to ask, what are your thoughts on What If overall now that it's done?
I love the idea. I was pleasantly surprised. I did not think that they would tie into one another in the way that they did.
This is full spoilers, by the way.
Yes, we are doing a spoiler chat.
Yeah.
So if you're here, you should have watched it already. Go watch it. I was just pleasantly surprised. I thought it was just going to be a here episode and then a here episode and then a here episode, and that they wouldn't really relate to one another in any way. They would just be like fun and silly. But, you know, Disney, Marvel, they never really half-ass anything. I think they did a really great job of bringing it all together, so I enjoyed it.
They like their connected stories.
Yes, they do.
I would have been fine if they didn't connect in the end. I don't really care about that. I think when I think of What If, the not connected part of it is what's fun. In fact, I think when we do get into the Ultron episodes at the end, I think the weakest part of them was the connection. I almost would have wished that, you know, we'll get into it later.
Okay.
And obviously, we won't be talking about the missing episode, the Sakaar episode, that is brought up in the Ultron episodes, but we didn't get to see, unfortunately, because of COVID deadlines. So,
Wait, what?
you know how Gamora shows up?
Yeah.
In the final episode, but she's not. Like, she doesn't have a What If episode.
Yeah.
That character does have a What If episode.
Oh.
But because of COVID, it wasn't finished in time, and so it's going to be a part of season 2.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay, cool, she's there, but she just kind of like came out of nowhere. Okay.
Yeah, so she comes out of nowhere because they didn't finish an episode.
Gotcha.
Because of delays because of COVID, and they needed to get this show out because this show has to come before. This show had to come before Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
Essentially. Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be too much about the multiverse for this show to not exist.
Yeah, 100%.
For the audience to not, you know. And I don't really know how many people watch this, but...
I don't know either. I would be curious to see the numbers.
We'll never know.
No,
Disney's not going to tell us. They're going to be like, it was a huge success.
Yeah.
But let's get into these 9 episodes of What If, starting with What If Captain Carter were the first Avenger. Girl power.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty strong way to start off the series. There was nothing like crazy heavy in it, like there are in later ones.
When it came out, I loved it so much, right? I think that when in talking, like, the goal of this is to rank them, right? So this is, to me, the bottom. This is number 9 for me.
What?
Yeah, just because in terms of, like, when I think about What If, I want the, like, I want the, like, consequences and the way it builds out and how it changes the universe. And this episode to me was the most structured, like, here's the first Captain America movie, but it's Captain Carter.
Right.
And I think but I like this a lot. I like all these episodes. So when I'm ranking them, I'm ranking, like, least best to best.
Yeah.
But there's not really, I think this episode's really strong. I just think the other episodes do more with the concept. And I'm grateful that this episode exists because I love Haley Atwell as Captain Carter, and I hope that she returns in live action as that character, or that we get more of her in season 2. But I felt like this show was lighter on the what if, so that it wasn't ease into the series for people. And I think they did that with a lot of episodes, right? Like, I think the first 3 episodes are easing people into the concept. You get your what if with Captain Carter. The second episode, you get T'Challa, which is, like, obviously a really emotional moment because of real life things, but also, like, everyone just loves Black Panther, and the mania around that character is really strong. And then the third episode is where we'll talk about it, but where I think the turn happens, where, like, the series really deepens into its concept.
I was going to say, I think episode 3 is kind of in between.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So where did you rank it?
Well, I mean, I know I sound like super surprised, but for me, Captain Carter's number 7.
Yeah, okay.
So.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I really liked it. I love the character. It made me happy.
I will say, I think that the introduction of our character is good. I think they actually use Captain Carter better in the later episodes. I think in the final episode, I think that Captain Carter is the stuff they do with her, especially her action sequences and her relationship with Black Widow, really, really solid in the finale. I thought that was really smart. And we'll talk about more when we get there.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, not a lot to say about this episode. It really is kind of a clip show. I do like that they had a different way for her to get to the present in her fight with the Cthulhu beast. That has a name, and I can't remember what it is. But that beast will be coming back in Doctor Strange 2. So get ready for live action tentacles, which will definitely not be turned into porn on the internet.
No, never.
It's never. No one's ever put tentacle porn on the internet.
Never happened.
There's not a word for it. Do you know what the word for tentacle porn is?
I do. Yes.
Proud of you.
Thank you. Moving on. Episode 2 is what if T'Challa became Star-Lord?
Yeah.
Which was fun when I watched it, but ultimately for me it ranks 9th. It just wasn't very memorable for me.
Our list could not be more different.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fun, and I remember enjoying it, but literally, it didn't really, like, stick with me. I'm
shocked. This is my favorite one.
This is your favorite?
This is my favorite episode of the show. I think that this episode, more than any other, does what I want What If to do, which is give me a tonally different story in the Marvel Universe using similar characters that have been changed by one event. And I think that, unlike some of the stories where you kind of have to try and puzzle how things happened, and we'll get into that with the Ultron stuff at the end, but the T'Challa, when they pick up T'Challa instead of Peter Quill, that is the only thing that changes, and because the time jump helps, but by the time you get to the time jump where he's an adult and he's, basically leading the Ravagers, I think that what I get from the show is I understand why Thanos is a different person. I understand why Yondu is a different person. I understand what he brought to these characters. And in 22 minutes, I think this episode did a really good job of showing me how this one person's inclusion in these other people's lives could have changed them because of who he is as a person. And I thought that it was just a really cool story. I liked that they brought in a heist tone and feel and heist tropes. I liked Thanos a lot. I thought that was such a fun way to play with that character. I loved the buff collector as the villain. I really
Nebula was great.
When I think about the show, this is the most fully rounded individual story. I don't need another episode of this. This was like a little bow, and they put it on there perfectly, and I really dug it. I thought the action in this episode was really fantastic. Bringing in Thanos's Black Order, I think they're called, Cull Obsidian and Ebony Maw and all of them to be on the Collector's team, and having Thanos fight them was really fun. I think that in terms of like what I want a What If to be, this one was the most satisfying of that.
Okay, that's fair.
Also, this one, like, it's tough because there's some that are more related to the comics, like Marvel Zombies, but I've already read Marvel Zombies, so like there are things in Marvel Zombies that just aren't as surprising because I've seen it before. This one was also new and took me in different directions that I really enjoyed, and I really, really, really appreciated the episode.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't know. For me, it didn't stand out. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna rank it last because it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't super memorable to me. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. Like you said, I thought all the episodes were great. worst, best, and most best. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Like,
it just gives us a structure for the video. Is
yeah,
essentially it,
yeah. But, like...
We need a structure to talk about things we love.
Yeah, honestly, Nebula was kind of the most memorable part of that.
She's great. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love
so
the way
slash.
they used a lot of the female characters in the show. Not used. Maybe that's the wrong way to say that, but I love the representation of the female characters in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did really interesting with Black Widow. I feel like they did really interesting things with Nebula. Captain Carter, obviously. Like, I feel like there was a really solid push towards giving those characters, I love the way they're portrayed in the movies, but like to see them have their paths in this show, I thought was really strong.
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's get into what if the world lost its mightiest heroes. At the beginning of the video, I did say that this is where it takes a turn, and there's a couple of different ways that I mean that. Right, this is where it becomes very dark. This is where they start killing people a lot, which becomes kind of a theme throughout the rest of the show. They kill Tony Stark a lot.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that guy sucks.
This is also where I feel like they were like, anything can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. For me, it ranks number 8.
Really?
I didn't really like this one. It was fine, but I don't know. It just didn't really feel... I think what it is my ranking... Spoiler alert, but like the last couple episodes rank high for me because I liked that it all tied together and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And this one felt like it didn't matter at all.
Interesting.
Like, it just, like, this one was truly just like a thing by itself that had no like payoff. There was nothing...
I agree with that.
Yeah, there was no payoff. There was nothing rewarding about it. It was just kind of like, what if this happened? Oh, damn. Okay.
I think the fun of this episode is the realization that this takes place during Nick Fury's big week, which is a Marvel concept where Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, and Thor all happen in the same week, canonically in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Which is really fun, and like it's an enjoyable concept. But I think what the episode didn't do that would have made it really strong for me, because I like the visuals, I like the combat, the Black Widow fighting nobody in the library was really solid, and so there's stuff about this episode I really love. I wish that I understood Hank Pym's motivation at the end of the episode a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Because I think that it made a fairly solid episode end on sort of a like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the twist at the end of the episode, I was like, oh, okay, he's upset that his daughter died on a mission for S.H.I.E.L.D., so he's killing people that weren't responsible for that, so that the person responsible for that is upset that they're dead, I guess.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to change my ranking. I think this one is last for me.
This is 8 for me, actually.
It's 8.
Yeah,
okay.
We were at the same.
Okay. I think this one ranks last for me. Now that I'm, like, talking about it. I agree with everything you said. And there are things that I like about this episode 2 for T'Challa, like that do actually, like, I do have positive feelings towards, whereas this one, honestly, I'm kind of just like meh about the whole thing.
I really like a lot of it. I just think what doesn't work for me is just the ending. Like, because I really love I love the Black Widow stuff a lot. I think that Natasha's really cool in this episode, and like the way that she goes out is like tragic and dope. I like the way that Tony Stark dies and the way that it pins it on Black Widow. I thought that was really well handled. And I also just really liked the way that Loki came down. I thought like that sequence was really cool. And I wanted the Loki... Once Loki was on board to fight the final villain, I wanted that to be a better fight. And it just kind of... I was a little bit disappointed by it.
Yeah, me too.
The Nick Fury, like, image switch was cool, but other than that, I don't know. It just kind of ended on a like, oh, yeah, okay, it was Hank. Yeah. That makes sense.
But it didn't really, because they're like, I don't know why he's hellbent on murdering everybody.
Yeah,
like,
it seemed like he's like, Hope died on a mission. And I'm like, I get that. Also, Winter Soldier killed her. So I'm like, well, then go after Winter Soldier. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah. The visuals in this episode were really strong.
Yeah.
I just think the storyline kind of dipped at the end.
Yep, 100%.
Next one up is what if Doctor Strange, your second favorite Marvel movie,
Actually,
lost his
third
heart
now.
instead of his hands. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because Shang-Chi is number 1 now.
We're gonna do a full ranking the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe before Spider-Man comes out in December. So stay tuned for that video. It's gonna take us a while. It might also come in parts, or it would be like 3 hours.
There's so many. Yeah, there's so many. We should do like decades.
Or phases.
Phases, all right.
Yeah. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? After losing Dr. Christine Palmer in a car crash, Dr. Stephen Strange travels to Kamartaj to try and bring her back to life. Mm-hmm. And
this episode is so dark.
I loved it. It just made me so sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very heavy.
Yeah.
Like, watching this at, like, 9:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, because we woke up and just threw it on, being like, Doctor Strange.
We were like, oh, God, what a way to start the day. Like...
Yeah. So well written, though. I think that
it was, yeah.
What this episode did really well is that I never was sitting there being like, I don't think Steven would do that. The entire time I was like, oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, if you died and someone was like, there's magic, but you have to spend 100 years to bring her back to life, I'd be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
That's not that long. To see you again?
Yeah.
100 years?
That's fine. I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that this one ranks number 4 for me. Mm-hmm. I quite liked a lot about it, but it was very heavy and bleak. And like at the end, I was just like, wow, I'm just gonna go curl up in a ball in the corner and not exist for 3 days. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, this hurts my heart, like really. But I think that that's a testament to how good it was, that it was believable and
that they pulled that off in only 22 minutes.
Yeah, you know, these episodes are short, and telling such a concise story like this, it's tough. It's tough. I think they did a great job. Yeah, this one is number 4 for me.
I think like one of the pushbacks on this episode was that the show made it seem like Dr. Christine Palmer and Doctor Strange had a much more intimate relationship than they do in the movies. But it's what if.
But yeah, that's
if you're on Twitter being like, I don't think Stephen Strange loves Christine Palmer that much.
What?
It's literally that is what if. The what if is he loves her in this one and he likes her a lot in the other.
I thought that was very clear.
That is the what if. It's not that she died, it's that she was in the car at all when he crashes because he loves her in this one. There was a lot of people online who I saw being like, Doctor Strange, they don't love each other that much in the movie. And I'm like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of these start off differently.
She's also not in the car when he crashes in the movie because he doesn't love her the same way in the movie as he does in this universe. Anyway, that was a discourse that I was like,
and he is a slightly different person.
Did you read the title of the show?
Yeah.
Did you not listen to the Watcher's whole monologue at the beginning every time?
Yeah, no, that's silly. That was like very clear to me at the beginning. I was like, cool, you know, and it's what if, and I think that they like Marvel is smart. They set it up in a way where they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I will say though, they do a little bit too much whatever they want in some later episodes, and we will talk about that when we get to them. There's a few times where I was like, wait a second, and the entire internet went wait a second in a way that I agree with. I just don't agree with it on the Doctor Strange episode.
Fair enough.
I thought this one was pretty straightforward. I do like the way that this pays off at the end. This was my number 3. This was my third favorite. Yeah, I really, anytime you can take 22 minutes and really make me feel a deep emotion, that's a massive success. Mm-hmm. That's like a really massive success. I think that, and all of my top ones are all things that really made me feel something. Mm-hmm. I think that when T'Challa becoming Star-Lord made me feel really joyful. I just like, and you know, there is something about the fact that like that was the first T'Challa performance, first Chadwick Boseman performance. That's actually not true. I did actually watch Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which he's incredible in. But there was an emotional thing about that as well. His death definitely made watching that episode feel very different. And you know, I don't think I'll ever be able to untie those two things. Mm-hmm. But that the ones that really, you know, if you can give me emotions in 22 minutes, that's an incredible accomplishment. And I thought that the Doctor Strange episode did that. I was very upset at the end of this. Yeah. I cried. Like I literally had tears in my eyes. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, me too.
And the, you know, that pays off so well for the Ultron episodes. Like we see you know, dark Doctor Strange becoming lonely made him a different person, and he changes a lot for those final episodes, and he's like really it's fascinating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Honestly, that's the strength of this series, right? Is like the more I think about it now, the more I'm like, wow, like they really wrote these characters so well. Mm-hmm. The writing was solid.
Yeah.
Let's get into what if zombies. It's less of a question than the other ones. But this is another episode where we got to watch Tony Stark die, so that's fun. Mm-hmm. Technically, he also died in the Doctor Strange episode, just not on camera, because everybody died. What did you think of this? Because you haven't read any Marvel. Sorry.
No, I haven't. And like I don't like zombies are not like my favorite thing, anyways. Mm-hmm. It was interesting. This one ranks number 6 for me. There were things about it that I enjoyed, but it was also just kind of like absolute utter chaos. And this one also like was sad. This one hurt me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like having the head of Scott Lang. Like I don't know. It made me feel bad.
I will say this one was number 2 for me.
Really?
Yeah, I love the comics. Okay. I have a deep love for those comics. They came out at the right time for me to be like, I was reading comics, but I was growing up and I was like ready for like something more adult, but like with the characters that I loved. Yeah. And so Marvel Zombies just kind of slid in at a time when I was like
ready for it.
It was me maturing into it at the time that it came out and me wanting more like graphic horror. I love horror. I really love horror movies and horror TV shows and comics and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think gore and I just love it. And so Marvel Zombies has always been something that I've really loved. Mm-hmm. And I thought that this episode used the Marvel Zombies trope really well to tell a story that was equal parts funny and devastating. Mm-hmm. So much so that the final reveal, the reveal that Vision is feeding people to Scarlet Witch because he loves her and can't see her die, mm-hmm. is such a moment that like I felt like I was punched in the stomach. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I genuinely was like, that is the most like disgustingly human thing for a robot to do.
Yeah, that's true.
And it just it got me. You know what I mean? Like I in that moment I was sitting there like, damn, dude, that's an awful thing that you're doing, but I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I hate that I get it, but I get it. And it just made it really fascinating. And I thought, in terms of Marvel Zombie stories, this one was a really, really strong one. And there was just also so much good comedy in this. The Peter Parker comedy was so strong. Obviously the Scott Lang head with when the levitating cape goes around and it's like, I'm gonna help you around. I was like, this is amazing. God. As a lover of Futurama, I was really into that. And yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really cool. It was nice to have Happy in there. It was nice to not just have Marvel superheroes. Like some of the like other characters got to shine in this one.
Yeah.
And yeah, just really cool.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. I enjoyed this episode quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, zombies have never really been my thing, but like there was definitely stuff in it that I liked. Mm-hmm. For sure. It made me feel sad, like Doctor Strange made me feel sad, but I felt less connected to it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. Maybe that's just because I love Doctor Strange. Like, I love that movie and that character.
Yeah.
And What If Zombies I don't have a connection to.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I was about to ask a mean question. I'm not going to. Not about you. I was going to ask a question that was going to imply something mean about someone in the MCU, and I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? I'm going to be nice above that. Because he does not deserve that. Next up is what if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark? Mm-hmm. This is an episode where Tony Stark dies again. Mm-hmm. This time on screen.
But at least he makes it like to the pretty much the end.
He survives most of this episode.
Yeah, so like
the What If writers really don't like Tony Stark.
Yeah, well, you know, he's kind of a dick.
Yeah, but in the final episode when the Watcher's like, "Not you, Stark," I was like, wow, yeah, you really don't want him around.
That was very funny.
They were like, we can't afford Robert Downey Jr., so we're just gonna like keep killing him off.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a funny joke, like you know, a little like inside.
So Eric Killmonger Stevens, which I did not know his last name was Stevens, but Eric Stevens, isn't Eric Stevens a character in Even Stevens?
I have no idea.
Anyway,
never watched it.
You've never seen Even Stevens? Wait, you've never seen the Even Stevens movie?
No.
We are very close in age. How did you miss Even Stevens?
I was watching SpongeBob.
Oh my god, you don't know who Beans is.
No.
Oh my god, that's weird.
I
Even
was watching
Stevens
Sweet
is
Life
like
of Zack and Cody.
Yeah, but like those things, but those are like so close to each other time wise. Like that would be like the next show.
I just like pick a thing and I'm like that.
Yeah,
like,
the Even Stevens movie holds up. It's actually still really good.
All right.
The big twist moment on the cliff at the end of that movie is fantastic to this day. Sorry, we got a little distracted here. Killmonger. Killmonger. This is not my favorite episode. It's not my least favorite episode. Obviously, I've already said what that is. But this one got a little. The thing I will say about this episode is I felt like it got a little like. And then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and I got a little bit like, oh, I get it. I just wanted I wanted a little bit more. I guess I wanted more pushback on Killmonger, so that I wanted him to have a little bit more conflict in his successes. He won really easily every time. And so it just kind of made this like, and then Killmonger succeeded at doing this, and then Killmonger succeeded at doing this.
Interesting.
And the premise was so fascinating, and Killmonger's such an incredible character that I still liked it despite that.
Yeah.
I just wanted him to struggle a little bit more.
So is this number 7 for you?
I don't think so.
Oh, because I think you put...
No, this is number 5.
Number 5. Okay, yeah. Okay.
This one's like right down the middle, because I love the premise. I love Killmonger. I love a lot of what's happening. I think I just wanted to spend more... You know what it is? I wanted to spend more time with this one. They had to do this one, more than any of them, had to spend so much time that they clipped through a couple of things. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm feeling. It's like, I really liked it, and I just wanted to, like, live a little bit more in Tony and Killmonger's relationship. Mm-hmm. I wanted Killmonger to feel guilty about killing Tony when he kills him, because he, some way came to respect and appreciate him. And I didn't feel like we got that beat. Of like, Killmonger saves him to use him, and then they spend this time together, and he still has to use him, and he still chooses to do that, but the time they spend together makes it harder for him to do that. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the like emotional pull I wanted. Mm-hmm. Because I see a lot of the relationship between these two characters is really based in this like, both their fathers died when they were young, and like they have all of these things in common. Mm-hmm. And I think I just wanted them to like get a little bit closer so that Killmonger's betrayal felt less inevitable and more painful. Mm-hmm. And that because that would have pushed over the top for me. Mm-hmm. If Killmonger's betrayal of Tony felt like a gut punch, I think that this would have been like my favorite one. Because I think the premise is so strong, and the visuals and the fighting in this were like, the action in this was so good.
Yeah.
I think it just was Killmonger was a little too cold for me.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting because I think that the reason I ranked this at number 2.
Oh, wow.
And I think that it's funny because I think the reason I did that is similar to the reasons that you felt dissatisfied with it. Because I enjoyed this because I wanted to see this movie. If that makes sense.
Oh, I would see. Oh, yeah.
Right, this was like the best like teaser trailer for the Marvel's next movie, and if this was the movie, I think it would be great. I think there's so much there that would be well worth exploring, that I would love to see in live action. I loved Pepper's role in it. I loved like Pepper and Shuri coming together at the end.
Like the end. I want that movie so bad.
But that's what I mean, and that's why this one really stuck out in my brain, and it was definitely unsatisfying, but I rank it number 2 because I enjoyed it and I wanted more. I saw where they were going with it, and I think that like it just got me like hyped and it got my brain going,
100%.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Concept is fantastic.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah. And I think that's just where I'm at. The concept of this one was one of my favorite ones because it really like it changes literally everything.
Yeah.
I just feel like we didn't get the emotional payoff that I wanted. Yeah. The next one up is, what if Thor were an only child? What if Thor were an only child?
Yeah, how'd you feel about this one?
It was so funny and fun. Like, it's hard to not like it. It's not my favorite episode because, like, it is literally, like, it is the lightest episode. It's so
ridiculous.
But, like, Thor and Captain Marvel fighting, that fight sequence was incredible.
And, yeah.
The one in the desert, their fight sequence in the desert is some of the best, like, action choreography in the MCU, in my opinion.
Thor and Loki how they like are like frat boy bros. Like it just like
how they have a better relationship because they're not actually brothers.
Yeah, like just stuff like that where you're like, this is great. I ranked it number 5 because you know it didn't have the gravity that a bunch of the other ones did, or you know, it was definitely more lighthearted fun, but it was a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah, it was tough because there was an element of like Nick Fury was like, we are going to nuke him, and I was like, but I didn't really get why.
Yeah, I didn't understand
like
why
a lot
they
of
were
aliens
trying to kill
appeared,
him.
and they were really upset about it, but the aliens weren't like destroying things.
That's not true.
Well, actually, yeah, they did destroy that one Ferris wheel.
And the Statue of Liberty.
That was an accident, though.
Sure, but like... No, they were definitely causing destruction. You know what I mean? You had like basically gods running like, around drunk. Like
that's true. And then when Nick Fury does go to talk to Thor, he does get like put in a coma immediately.
Like I understand why they don't want him there. I don't really understand why they're trying to murder him.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and him and Captain Marvel stuff together was such a good time.
And Jane, and honestly, Jane Foster was great in this. I really liked the way they used her. The Howard the Duck Darcy marriage. I really so I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
If they ever make another Howard the Duck movie, you need to put Darcy in it.
No, they made WandaVision, but with like.
But Kat Dennings is perfect for a Howard the Duck movie. She would be the best no, but I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I legitimately think that if you're going to make a Howard the Duck movie, which you should, it's hilarious, put Kat Dennings in it. She has the right kind of comedy. She would be a perfect comedic foil for Howard the Duck. And the way that they built Darcy in the MCU between the Thor movies and then the way they brought her back in WandaVision, I feel like that character is still so funny, but could be like Howard the Duck's like partner in a smart way, because she is very intelligent and figures out the WandaVision stuff. I don't know. I was like, oh, Howard the Duck Kat Dennings movie would be fantastic.
Yeah.
You could do it super cheap, make so much money.
Oh, and people would love to see it, but yeah, I don't think that they would. Yeah, this one I thought was just a much needed like lightness in the middle of some heavy episodes, and like when his mom comes down. And he like
Frigga's amazing.
Like it just, you know, she like sees her girlfriends once every 1,000 years and is like, gotta cut this one short, like, or 100 years, whatever it is.
Because my sons are idiots.
Yeah.
Our son, she only has one. Yeah. This was number 7 for me.
Number 7.
Yeah, it just didn't have the weight, but it's again awesome, really funny. The matching tattoos was really funny because I was like, wait, can human tattoo guns tattoo Thor?
Yeah, I was like, how did they pierce his skin? Okay.
Cool.
All
right. Before we get it, so there's 2 left. The 2 Ultron episodes. Let's go over all of our rankings so far.
Okay.
So I have Star-Lord at number 1, Zombies number 2, Doctor Strange number 3. I have Something at number 4, Killmonger number 5, Something number 6, Thor at number 7, Avengers number 8, and Captain Marvel at number 9. So the 2 Ultron episodes are 4 and 6.
Our lists are very different. I'm just going to say that, well, it doesn't matter. So number 1 is one of these 2 episodes. For
really?
Me. Okay. Yeah, and then Killmonger Tony Stark is number 2, and then the other one is number 3.
Okay, so you really like the connections at the end.
I did, and it paid off for me, and because otherwise I think that the series would have been a lot less memorable, in my opinion. And then Doctor Strange number 4, Thor's number 5, Zombies number 6, Captain Carter number 7. And then, I think I've changed. I think What If T'Challa Was Star-Lord is number 8, and then If the Avengers Died is number 9 for me.
Really interesting. Because you're 1 and 3 for these final 2 episodes, and I'm 4 and 6. And I think what's interesting about it is there's a lot of people who don't like that these connected at the end.
Really?
And I've heard DJ Wooldridge on Only Stupid Answers, a great podcast. I love that podcast. Him and Roxy Stryer do a great show over there. DJ was talking about how like the connection stuff he finds kind of boring and that he wishes Marvel didn't do it. And like when I was listening to him thinking about it, I was like, yeah, like I don't need it. But then when I'm hearing you say like that's your favorite stuff, I'm like, yeah, but like when I think about like comic nerds versus the millions of people they want to watch this stuff, I think that the connections is what a lot of people love about the MCU.
Yeah.
And I think that Marvel has to kind of take that into play. I think that they could easily have made a What If series without any connections, but
I'm happy that they did.
Yeah.
That they made them, because it makes it feel like it matters.
Mm-hmm. There is an argument to be made, I think, among comic fans who are disappointed that the Watcher was part of it, though. Because I think that it takes away from the moment where the Watcher shows up to tell them that Galactus is coming.
What do you mean?
So like the Watcher's first declaration the first time he breaks his oath, Uatu, is the big moment of Fantastic Four, right?
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about?
Uatu showing up to tell them that Galactus is coming is like earth-shattering. The Watcher broke his oath. That it makes it like the biggest stakes thing ever.
See, and for me, I didn't know that was a thing.
But there's a conversation of like Uatu breaking his oath in an animated show first takes a little bit away from that moment if he does show up in Fantastic Four to say Galactus is coming, right? I don't know if that is actually true. I think it's still a big moment when we finally hear Uatu say that Galactus is coming. Because obviously we're building up to that. There's no way Marvel is not going to do Galactus. They would have to be insane not to do Galactus. It's too much fun to like everyone who has ever read Marvel comics.
And see, I'm like, I don't know what that is, but sure.
Galactus is a giant purple helmeted intergalactic being who eats planets.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the guy? He's got a big purple square helmet that has like two-prong horns that come up like this. And he's really big. Here, let me pull up a photo really quick. No. Galactus is like the big bad of everything.
Okay.
And like he is you see that?
Yeah.
Like he is the end game.
Sure, okay.
Galactus will be the final villain of the MCU.
Right.
And then they'll like
the last thing
spin it off into other things. Yeah. But like Uatu's first appearance, a lot of people's opinions is this, because it's a comics thing. Mm-hmm. His first appearance to people should be the moment where he shows up and goes, Galactus is coming.
Here's the thing, though. Marvel, the MCU is nowhere near finished yet, right? The MCU is going to go on for many, many, many more years.
Oh, yeah. And depending on the lawsuits.
Sure.
If they can keep the rights to the characters.
Yes, barring that. They, like, I don't think that them having, like, the Watcher show up at the end of a, like, fun kind of spin-off animated series many years ago, I don't really think that that's going to change the impact that has, especially if Marvel builds it up properly. You know what I mean? If the Watcher is introduced in movies beforehand in live action, and you know that they're there, and it's like and it's that like that, and if they do the build up properly, I don't think that there's any reason. Like, this is What If is meant to be a separate thing, and I love that it is all connected, but connected in itself. Right, it's not. They
didn't suddenly bring in the movie characters.
No, yeah. And that's that I would have been disappointed in, to be honest. I don't want What If to relate to the live action movies that I love.
They will, though.
Oh, sure.
I'm 100% on the train that Captain Carter shows up in Doctor Strange 2. I think Haley Atwell will be suited up as Captain Carter in Doctor Strange 2.
I mean, I don't necessarily mean the characters. I want to rephrase that. If any of these characters showed up in like mainstream MCU movies, I wouldn't be upset about that. It's the storylines. It's the What If storylines. They're like crazy, outlandish. You can kind of have fun and do whatever you want. I think that, like, keep that in animation, have it be fun, or make the Killmonger's Tony Stark movie and have it not be part of the MCU, but just do it. You could make
so many of these into movies.
Well, yeah, but then,
we were supposed to get a T'Challa as Star-Lord show. Like, they were going to spin that off into its own show, and obviously they can't now because Chadwick Boseman passed away, and, that's a tragedy for so many personal reasons, more than us getting a T'Challa show, obviously.
But that's just another to add to the list, right? And it's...
Yeah. God, what a dude.
I know. What a titan.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, like, these last two episodes, I rated What If the Watcher Broke His Oath, number 1,
Mm-hmm.
and What If Ultron won, number 3. Because I liked that these episodes, that the previous episodes felt like they mattered. And that's why I think the Avengers, What If the Avengers Died, was dead last for me, because none of that really came into play.
Yes, it did. In the most beautiful way.
When?
Because at the very end of the episode, Nat is like, I can't go back to my world. And then the Watcher's like...
Because he gets destroyed by Ultron in What If Ultron won.
Yeah, and so the Watcher takes her and he puts her in the world of the What If the Avengers Died, because Nat dies in that one. And that's why Nick Fury's like, you're not my Nat.
Oh, I thought he put her in, like our MCU.
No. Because she's alive, right? In our MCU. No. That was the Attack on New York moment, when Loki attacks New York.
Oh, so I thought this was a battle that they plopped down in our MCU after Natasha died, trying to defeat Thor.
At the very end of that episode, Natasha gets dropped into the universe of what if the Avengers were killed, because the Black Widow in that universe is killed in that episode. Right. And so she's given a universe again where she can be Black Widow. See, that was one of my favorite connections in the whole What If, because that was the most emotional
and
one.
I missed it.
Like, that conversation where she's like, I'm not going back. Like, I'm not going to go to a world and be alone. And he's like, I'm sorry, there's not a lot I can do. But he still does something. He plops her. And then Nick Fury's like, you're not my Nat, but you've got the same spirit. And I was like, no. And Cap's there, right? Because Cap is the one Avenger who doesn't get killed in that episode, because he's still on ice at that moment. Mm-hmm. I love that. So I ranked that episode number 4, and I ranked the What If Ultron one number 6. For me, Killmonger slots right in between them. I thought What If Ultron 1 was fun, and I liked the Clint and Nat storyline a lot. Their relationship in that episode was really strong, and I liked the Arnim Zola mind thing.
Yeah,
I think that what the episode. This episode was the one that played with the rules of the MCU the most. Mm-hmm. So much so that there were things that I was just kind of like, and it's the same conversation that everyone is having, because everyone's having the same thoughts of like, wait, how does Thanos have all the stones? Wait, the sequence of events is wrong in that episode, and so certain things happened before they happened. So like Thanos wouldn't have certain of the stones yet, because they're on Earth.
Yeah,
like,
but it's
how did
what if, so...
Right, but like, how did he get the time stone from Doctor Strange? Mm-hmm. Who still has the time stone in Age of Ultron? And also, like, Thanos shows up with 5 Infinity Stones, and Vision goes bzz, and kills him. And it's just kind of like, wait, so Vision could have just done that? Why did Infinity War happen? It just, they nerfed Thanos so that joke could happen, but that joke just to me was like, it was a joke that like they had to forget how Thanos really functioned within the MCU in order for that joke to hit. And it's fine because it's a good joke, but it weakens it a little bit for me, because it's kind of like, we just need this to be convenient, so we're just going to do a lot of convenient things to get to the end of this episode.
Yeah.
And
that's fair.
That's fine, but it just was a little bit like, okay, yeah, so... And I think that, like, once they got that out of the way, the final episode is a lot stronger, because it's less convenient, and it works more within its own logic.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
But I did find What If Ultron 1 to be like... Okay, like...
Yeah, the What If Ultron...
Thanos has 5 Infinity Stones, and he just gets... boom.
Yeah, honestly, for me, the reason What If Ultron 1 ranks so high is because its connection into the next episode, and also the relationship between, Black Widow and Clint.
Yeah, Hawkeye's great.
Yeah.
Hawkeye in that episode is so good, and mirroring how he dies in the silo moment to how Nat dies in the Endgame was so solid.
Yeah.
Like, what a beautiful image. The way it was animated was so stunning, and just the way they both fall the same way. I was like,
so
that was
good.
That was really, really well done.
Yeah. So that those are all reasons that like that one it bumps up that one for me.
I also love that they're like, we have an evil AI. What do we do? we have our own evil AI.
Yeah, and yeah, they gotta put a lot of trust. But when you have no other option, honestly, anything seems better than nothing. Yeah, yeah. And it was silly in a lot of ways, but also there was a good balance of like tragedy and comedy in that episode. I think that they did just really well. And the moment, you know, where like Clint is like giving up and the Watcher's standing there, he's like, no, just keep going just a little bit. It's right there, you know. And I think that appeals to like humanity in a way. You know, sometimes life is shit, but you just have to keep going a little bit longer, and there's always like something over the next horizon, right?
Yeah, and I love Nat picking up the Red Guardian shield.
Yeah.
Mostly for what it meant for the next episode.
Yeah.
But let's get into that next episode. What if the Watcher broke his oath? The Watcher starts this episode by plucking people out of their own universes.
You, come with me. Not you, Tony. Fuck you.
There's our one F-bomb for the video.
Yeah, I was going to say, I used it.
Yeah. T'Challa from the Star-Lord. We get Party Thor. I love that his name's Party Thor in this universe.
I know.
Strange Supreme. Captain Carter. Black Panther Killmonger, and a variant of Gamora whose episode is not here, and so she just kind of shows up.
Yeah, and it did feel a little bit awkward because I was like, I don't understand. Like, I was like, why didn't we get more of this? Like, this is cool. And
yeah, she's like the Infinity Crusher, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
where's this from?
Yeah, and so now knowing that there was an episode that we don't have, it makes a lot more sense. But in the moment, I was like, interesting choice.
It is unfortunate, right? Because there's a part of me that's like, I almost wish they had kept that episode in this season and pushed What If the Watcher Broke His Oath to be the first episode of season 2. So it ends on this cliffhanger of, oh my god, Ultron won. And you have to... No, but I think that would have been very much like Infinity War Endgame, right?
Yeah.
Like that year between Infinity War and Endgame was the longest year of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it would have been fun. And I think that the Gamora stuff in this episode would have been stronger if we knew her. But like... Yes. And this is a problem the MCU is going to have moving forward, right? Is the Gamora in the MCU is even not the Gamora that we know. And so Guardians Volume 3 is really going to have to deal with the fact that she's a different person, right? But here, it was the most jarring part of this episode. I thought this episode was fantastic. The action in this episode was unbelievable.
Was so good. Oh my god. And like, Captain Carter and Black Widow, I need it. I want it so bad.
What exactly is it that you want?
It's YouTube. I'm not allowed to say it, but I do have an OnlyFans. I could talk about it over there.
You can say you wanted them to kiss.
No, I know.
You want them to make out a little bit.
Yeah. I like it when it was like in the plane at the beginning when they were like, I don't know. There's something. There was like a line, and I was like, wait, are they? No. Oh, okay. And I've never felt such disappointment.
Hashtag buy panic. Yeah, no, I think that once I got over the fact that the Gamora thing is whatever, this episode was just so fun. I really loved the combat using both of the shields, to see the Captain Britain shield and the Red Guardian shield in combat together. The one shot where Captain Britain goes low and Nat goes high was just one of the coolest combat shots.
Brilliant.
And the other one was it reminded me of the Suicide Squad movie, because there's the long shot in the Suicide Squad movie that's of Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Peacemaker? No, that can't be right.
Isn't it?
I can't remember. Of his helmet. And the fight in the reflection of his helmet.
Oh, yeah.
That beautiful, beautiful shot that James Gunn added in that movie. The moment where the camera stays on the Infinity Stone and all of their hands and weapons and things come in and out of frame, and you can kind of figure out what the combat is.
Yeah.
But it's zeroed in on the stone, and it's just things dipping in and out. I was like, this is...
It was very creative.
So well done and beautiful, and like it gave that fight a lot of different variety. And I just... the combat in this was absolutely the peak for me. I was like, this is unbelievably cool.
Yeah.
Playing with these character superpowers in a way that you kind of can't do live action, because CGI is amazing, but like there are limits, right?
Yeah. And then obviously, to no one's surprise, Killmonger is like, I'm gonna take their stones for myself. Like, I was like, okay, shocked. Like,
yeah. But his reasoning, I understood.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
they all
villains think that they're doing the right thing.
No, but in this specific, I don't think he's being a villain here, right? Like, in this specific instance,
he would have been.
All of these people come from worlds that have been broken, right? Like, the Watcher really pulled together, other than Captain Carter, honestly, and maybe Gamora, because we don't know what her storyline is, and Thor. Honestly, Party Thor's world is fine. So I guess half of them come from broken worlds. His thing being like, we could fix our worlds. Although his world isn't really broken from his perspective, I guess.
No,
his world's broken from
power
our
hungry, and he's like, we can use these for good, and you're like, that amount of power is never a good idea.
No.
Like, I was just like, I'm shocked. But, you know, Doctor Strange sacrificing himself to, you know, and obviously the Watcher kind of saw it all, and Doctor Strange was like, I understand, you know. Yeah. That kind of moment I thought was great, because I thought they were going to pull the stones out, or, sorry, no, I thought that Arnim Zola, I thought that the program was going to work, and then it would be fine.
But Arnim Zola's a Nazi.
Yeah.
Not a Nazi. He's Hydra, but he's a Nazi.
Basically.
He's a magic Nazi.
Yeah, so it was interesting that they were like, oh no, we're just going to take this moment to store it in a pocket dimension for later. Because that's definitely coming back.
I think, you know, one thing I love about the MCU and what they've done with Nazis in particular is that they haven't shied away from them. I feel like a lot of people don't like to talk about the Nazis.
Yeah.
Because they're the worst, right?
Yeah,
then they're the worst. But Marvel hasn't, like, completely run away from the fact that this world exists and Nazis were in it. And the remnants of that awful movement, right? The remnants of that still exist today. And that's not a comic storyline. That's real life, real right? Life. Like we are living in a time where far right, like alt racist movements are on the rise.
Yeah.
There's an alt right party in Germany right now that's essentially like the new Nazi party, and the people are voting for them. And I think that, you know, I understand that it's uncomfortable to acknowledge racism. You know what I mean? Like it's tough. Yeah. To acknowledge the sins of our past. But I think it's really important that our media and our storytelling continues to remind us that, like, this isn't history. It is somewhat history.
It is history, but
it's
also
not just history.
Yeah.
There is this, like, and I think that this show did less with, because, you know, Arnim Zola is just an AI. I was just thinking about Winter Soldier and how, you know, Hydra's still around.
Yeah.
And the Nazi party's gone, but, like, the mindset that those people had is not fully gone.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, the worst, because it's the worst mindset you could possibly have. All people are people, and I you know.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to explain my position on the Nazis.
Yeah, like, you don't need to
I would like to be very clear
elaborate. We understand.
I don't like you.
Nazis
are
bad.
I don't agree with you on anything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's...
But I do appreciate that Marvel hasn't, like, brushed that away completely.
Yeah.
They did mess up with the whole Captain America making him a Nazi in the comics thing. That was really messed up a few years ago.
What the...
Yeah, there's, like, a cosmic cube that it's a whole thing.
Okay, sure.
And, like, it was, like, he became a Hydra agent, and it was dumb.
Right.
But it was a little uncomfy because you made the bastion of American goodness. It was bad.
Yeah,
it was not a good... It was a good storyline, but it wasn't in good taste, in my opinion. And other people might feel differently, but I just appreciate that about Marvel. I appreciate that they have this idea of what their morals are, and they're willing to have bad guys that they're like, we're going to acknowledge that these people exist in modern times, not just in Captain America's past, but in modern times, and we're going to call them out for being bad. We're going to call authoritarians bad, and we're going to bring it up. And I just, you know, every time they bring up Arnim Zola, I feel the thematic underpinning of that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're getting a season 2?
Yeah, we are getting season 2 of this, of What If. I think I'm curious to see what that means. Like, is it going to be we've continued to follow the multiversal Avengers?
Or is it
Guardians of the Multiverse, sorry?
Completely new, right? Like,
I don't know. I think we'll definitely get a Captain Carter episode. I think that we'll we'll see Steve come out of that tank that he's in the final moments of this episode. I think that we won't get any more T'Challa stuff, so that's kind of off the table.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're going to recast his voice. They're not recasting him for the movie. I can't imagine they would do it for an animated show.
No, and I think we'll get to see Gamora probably, but I think it'll be I think it'll
we'll get
be
the
both.
Gamora episode.
Yeah.
We'll get the Sakaar episode.
I think there will be new stuff, and I also think that they're going to keep using these characters because there's a lot to love.
They've said that season 2 will involve Phase 4 movies, so I think that I think we'll probably get a Shang-Chi episode. What if Shang-Chi joined his dad maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably get an Eternals what if because there's so many what ifs you can do with the Eternals. The Eternals are the ultimate what if because they've always been around. So it's like, what if the Eternals intervened at this point in history? What if the Eternals intervened at this point in history? How does that change the story?
Or if the Eternals movie comes out and they do intervene, we'll get a what if of what if they didn't.
Or if the Eternal movie comes out and bombs because people don't care.
Yeah.
We won't.
That's fair. You know what? That's fair.
I don't think it will. I think Eternals is going to be a massive success. I think that those trailers have been incredible. But the Eternals is a weird one where, it could go either way right now. The Marvel brand is strong, but Eternals is, even among comic fans, Eternals is not,
It seems very, fringe.
Yeah. And so Shang-Chi, I mean, Shang-Chi's in more... I know Shang-Chi really well because of Spider-Man comics. Shang-Chi's in a lot of Spider-Man stuff. Shang-Chi's in a lot of, Iron Fist stuff. I'm familiar with Shang-Chi because of his supporting roles more so than his actual comics, which I haven't really read, which is something I want to change. But the Eternals, they're so complicated that they can't just be supporting characters in another comic. You can't just be like, oh yeah, and the Eternals are here, and you're like, wait, sorry, you need to explain so many things about these people.
Right. It's complicated.
Yeah, it's sort of like having the X-Men show up just randomly, and you're like, wait, what?
Wait a second.
I'm sorry. That man's name is Wolverine, and he has metal claws.
Wait a second.
And he's one of the most popular characters ever created for anything.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Good question.
Yeah. What if it's good? I like the show.
Yeah, I did too. If you guys like this video, we are going to do a ranks video for the Marvel movies for when Spider-Man comes
Remember
out?
when we said we were going to watch all the Bond movies and rank them?
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Marvel, yes, but that, no.
If you are watching this the day it comes out, though, go check out I'm going to go see Bond tonight, and I'll have my review of that movie up on the channel tonight. So if you want to watch that, should you watch? I think I'm just going to put some spoilers at the end of that video. I don't think I'm going to make them separate videos.
That's fair. Just be like, this is the spoiler point.
Yeah, but I'm really excited. I love Bond. My father is a big fan of James Bond, and so I was raised on those movies. It's basically the only thing we watch together, that and old westerns. So I love these movies. I love this franchise, while acknowledging that the early movies in the franchise are very, very, very racist, and maybe shouldn't be watched. But it's tough because it's Sean Connery. It's really...
Who also is not a great person?
Sean Connery's great. Is Sean Connery not a good person?
I thought some stuff came out.
Oh, no.
Anyways.
I can't talk about any man on the planet.
White men. Not great most of the time. But it's okay. Let us know if you like the video. Comment below. Let us know if you think our ranking is wrong. I mean, our rankings are very different, so let us know.
They couldn't be any less similar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love T'Challa. Number 1. Number 9.
Great. Yeah. No, let us know which ranking list you thought was better in the comment section below, and leave a like on the video or dislike it.
Yeah, watch. If you haven't seen What If, though, watch it. If you got to this point in the video, wait, what am I saying? If you watched an hour-long discussion, literally an hour-long discussion of What If, and you haven't seen it
yet,
what did you think of this video? Did any of this make sense to you?
Yeah, what does your brain... I have questions.
I would love... I just want to meet that person who's like, I don't really like to watch movies, but I love to watch people talk about them.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you don't, hit the dislike button. It's what it's there for. Also, you can leave mean comments down below because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her. As always, you can follow us over on Twitch. I'm over at twitch.tv/nerdynightly.
I'm over at twitch.tv/ClarusTakaris.
Clarus!
And you can also support us over on Patreon and Fanhouse. We post a lot of behind the scenes, extra stuff, early access, those kinds of things for the channel. So come check it out.
And as always, y'all, my name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
What if you did something nerdy tonight? Bye.
Bye.